Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is episode one of the Cosmic Education Team's channel to really help educate our customers and other users that are interested in headless CMS and learn more about Cosmic, as well as learn about best developer practices when it comes to using some of these modern tools that we use at Cosmic. So to kind of kick things off, we've got Stefan and Nara. And Stefan is going to be taking us on a tour of his latest article for us. And I'll show exactly what that covers. So it's how to use the Next.js Image component with a headless CMS. And as you might maybe suspect, we'll be using Cosmic to show you how to use the headless CMS portion and using this Next.js Image component to really maximize developer efforts around using images and serving them to users of your website to create a faster experience, as well as just automating a lot of the optimizations that you would normally have to do manually, right? So as an intro, that's kind of what this this short video is about. But we may get into other things as we ask questions after Stefan does his talk. But that's kind of the main goal here. So Stefan, if you wouldn't mind, kind of take it away and let's get into it.
Hey Tony, hey Nara, thanks for the introduction, Tony. Hey guys, my name is Stefan, part of the developer experience team here at Cosmic, and today we're going to be going over, I think, a fan favorite for the Next.js ecosystem, which is the image component. And and essentially just how we're efficiently going to grab some data from our Cosmic bucket, and that's going to be an image URL, and put it in our project. So let's get right to it. And Tony, could you allow screen sharing?
Sorry about that. Yeah, you should be good.
No worries. Okay. Okay. All right. So here's our bucket, right? And essentially, when we're going in Cosmic, we've got our bucket set up so that we can do several things. We can put a title in, our slug is going to come, our category, and then our cover image is going to be something that we can take from our actual Cosmic bucket stored in our media directory. And essentially, we can grab this URL here and put it into our actual object so that we can take this beautiful, beachy, relaxing image and display it on our blog post. So just to give a little hint of what that looks like, we've got our official Cosmic Next.js developer portfolio application template, which we'll provide some links in the description for anyone to go in and kind of mess around with the code or get the template going themselves. But yeah, essentially, we're going to take this next image and take it from our object here. So essentially, starting off in our code.
Can you go ahead and zoom in a little bit on that, Stefan?
Yeah, what do you...
Just a command plus or whatever it is.
Oh, on the code itself?
Yeah.
Or everything? Yeah.
Perfect.
Maybe, is that good?
You can go a little bit more.
Yeah, I'll go 2 then. Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Okay, so with Cosmic, we can essentially import the NPM package, and once we've set our slug, our bucket slug, and our read key, we'll essentially have access to all the data in our Cosmic bucket, and from there we can just go to town by making our own custom asynchronous functions and injecting them into our Next.js application wherever we please to do so. So essentially, in our case, we're getting all of our posts, and by querying for our post type, and essentially, let's keep this as basic as possible, but in our case here, we've got posts. So whatever the name of your object would be, you query for it. And as we go in, we can grab whatever metadata we need. So in this blog post here, we want our title, we want our slug, we want some metadata here. And yeah, that's what we're going for from there. So once we've got that data in, um, we essentially are able to put it into our cover image and pass the title and the URL as props. And now we get into the wonderful next image component where essentially we are handling a lot under the hood. The next image component is handling a lot of the kind of heavy lifting in the source setting for us so that, you know, we can serve images to users globally, and make sure that they are responsive and that they get the appropriate file size, because at the end of the day we don't want to serve an oversized image to a mobile user. So
Can we go to
when
the
yeah,
next image documentation page really
yeah,
quick just to kind of
absolutely.
check that out?
Yeah.
And I think
Yep.
we should probably link to that in the article as well.
Sure thing. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so this is a wonderful, wonderful documentation on the next image. And essentially, the whole premise of the next image is you pass in the source, of course, right? But in some cases, you might have locally hosted media, and you can statically import, which you get a ton of great features when you statically import. Next image will kind of determine the width and the height for you and those kind of parameters, though we can also define a path string, which is what we're going to do from our Cosmic bucket. And all sorts of really nice features on the next image. We have different layout options: intrinsic, fixed, responsive, and essentially they all do slightly different things. But for the most part, what they are doing is they're appropriately serving the right size images, and they will scale. They're slightly different, but they will scale depending on the size of the container and the size of the device width that is requesting the image. So
So before we kind of
uh,
get into this,
yeah,
that's a crucial point I wanted to kind of just
sure.
elaborate on. What we used to do before, you know, I'm an old goat when it comes to using content management systems. I've used a lot of old open source solutions like Drupal and WordPress. And I remember back in the day with WordPress, you had to actually manually upload all of these different images to serve those different device preferences. So like if you wanted a mobile image, you want to have a mobile version of the image that is small and can really be delivered quickly to mobile users. And then larger images, you wanted to have a nice, you know, high res image. So and everything in between, right? So you really had to
Yeah,
do a lot of manual work to get all of those images looking good across all those
Yeah.
devices and serve through those network conditions, right? So this is something that really kind of does all the heavy lifting for you in that respect. So it's pretty amazing.
And
yeah,
that's why I want to, we can just show up. I mean, for mobile, the same image, the size, I mean, the original size, because the main point of using the next images that Tony mentioned, I mean, we just have a small size of images, depends our device. I mean, we can have a big image one for original and then get the smallest one. I mean, it's good point. I mean, for showing, it's good to go to documentation stuff like that, but it's more overthinking. I mean, you can just in your article you have image, you can just showing the big size uh, for the I mean original image size, and the showing up in DevTools for mobile web version and the um,
Yeah,
tablet.
yeah,
can you
absolutely.
inspect
Yeah,
that really
absolutely.
quick?
Yeah,
I know
here
we're
we'll
kind
Yeah,
of
actually.
getting ahead of ourselves on
No,
like
no,
what
no, no.
the
This
yeah,
is well,
but I think
but
this
yeah,
is
here's yeah,
that's an important point.
yeah. So
yeah. I mean,
essentially,
just for showing up.
yeah,
Okay,
to
I mute.
piggyback off what you guys are saying, you know, just before we close up that thought, you know, it really does do a lot of these things. It abstracts them away. And I think as developers, we're always looking for those tools that free up that time and space and save us resources. But yeah, so essentially, if we go here and we disable our cache.
Can
and
you
we
just
reload
inspect the
cache.
element itself? I think
Oh,
that's all
sure.
we really need to show
Yeah.
is like the source sets. I think it's key here, right?
Sure.
All of those different sizes. You just
Yep.
uploaded one image, right? That's one image
Yep.
being served from Cosmic, but it's like just chopping it up dynamically and serving it to all those different device specifications, which is pretty remarkable, which is a lot
Yeah.
of work you didn't have to do. So that's
Absolutely. That's a
great.
lot right there. And as you can see, once we start scaling up these images, once we start scaling up our viewport width, you see now we're loading in a bigger one and a bigger one and a larger one until I think that might be the max size. And see, there we go. So we've essentially, yep, it's
You can just
almost, it's
showing up
magical.
how the numbers of image, I mean size in your requests change up. I mean for visual part, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So let's see. Yeah.
So before we
So
derailed you,
yep.
where were we?
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. That was good though. That was a very productive tangent, I will say, and I think it's very important to highlight those parts of Next Image, and that's it's doing so much of the work under the hood, and it's great. It's a wonderful tool to use. So anyway, yeah. So essentially, when we've got our URL loaded in and we're passing it through this cover image component here, all we're doing is setting a URL and it's dynamic. So whichever article we are loading in our posts here, we're essentially just grabbing this URL and dynamically rendering it so that when we view our other posts as well, of course, they're going to be different. Okay, and with Next Image, of course, we can set our quality as well. By default, it's 75, and you can really get away with a big margin of lowering that quite a bit to save resources. I've worked with as much as down to 50, 40, 30. If you're loading really small avatars, you can get away with really saving resources there, and it all adds up. And yeah, so I just quickly too wanted to kind of touch on the fact that in Cosmic we can actually optimize our images through the imgix CDN, and as we go into our image itself, we can open this settings button and we can start to add things like compression and
Before you jump into
yeah,
that, would you mind
sure.
going to the Imagex documentation just so that everyone
Yeah,
knows
sure.
where to find out more about Imagex and the API that they offer for
Yeah.
image
So let's see.
optimization?
Yeah, is there any specific page? Yeah, so essentially, with Imagex, you essentially have a whole set of tools and queries and parameters that you could add to your image to optimize it. You could
So
set widths, yeah.
that left side, that menu, I think probably the most used ones would be like the automatic one, which is nice in that you have like an auto parameter that does like
Sure.
auto compression as well as I think format. Like let's say you have JPEGs and PNGs, it will actually auto format it to the file type that's most optimized. So if it can format to WebP, it'll do that, and it'll be even further compressed and optimized by just serving a different format of the image, which is pretty nice.
Yeah. Well, once
So
again,
we
one of those
don't
things
lose the
that, yeah,
quality of the picture.
yeah,
It's important.
exactly.
And then
Yeah.
the size one is pretty handy too if you want to like set widths and heights. I think those are kind of the
Yeah.
most used ones that I've found a value in.
Yeah. So yeah, Tony, could you tell us a little bit more about kind of like the Imagex and how Cosmic uses it?
Yeah. So basically, whenever you upload an image to Cosmic, it uploads it to our file CDN, which you have available through all of the object media meta fields, as well as on the media page. You have the CDN option that you can use, which serves it via CloudFront. And then you also have the Imagex URL, which does image processing. So if you are serving images, I recommend using the imgix URL. If you are using maybe like docs, like Windows files or PDFs or whatever, then you probably want to use the CDN. Because you're not utilizing any of the Imagix capabilities, but that's kind of what we offer, is those two different delivery links. You can do the CDN or Imagix URL, and that all comes standard with Cosmic with all of our accounts. It comes free. You can use Imagix, and it's just an out-of-the-box service that we offer.
It's really handy, and it's nice to be able to piggyback off the whole Imagex ecosystem and everything. Are there performance differences between using the Imagex and the standard Cosmic URL?
No, they're pretty comparable. If you're doing the same like original image size, but obviously if you're doing any image optimizations, you want to use that Imagix URL to do those custom query parameters to optimize your images.
Gotcha. Cool, yeah. So now that we've covered a little bit of the Imagex documentation, you can see just how easy and Cosmic it is to go and add some of those parameters for like the auto compression, and I guess, you could enhance and you could set quality. So if we wanted this to automatically squash the quality just a bit, then we can click save here, and now we see that has been added on to the end here of our WebP file. So now when we get this, we're going to have these wonderful queries on the end of it, and yeah, we can handle some of that work in Cosmic itself, which I think we enjoy in certain scenarios where you don't have the resources to go in, and you don't have the time to go in and kind of touch up a lot of these images. It's really quick in Cosmic. So yeah, so we've covered essentially, Next Image and Imagex and a little bit of our code and getting that image in. So now we kind of have to ask ourselves, like, why are we setting some of these parameters, and what are we looking for in our application? And I think a lot of people would say, of course, we want scalability for our images to serve them on different screen sizes, and we want to deliver the best user experience to everyone navigating to the website. And we're looking for performance here, and Next Image definitely handles a lot of this for us. For images that are loaded below the viewport, we can they will be automatically lazy loaded, saving us resources and time on our first contentful paint. And in our case here, in our blog, we definitely didn't want just a big layout shift with our image not loading at first. So we added a blur placeholder, and it's hard to achieve a great solution on the end of this. And there's so many different solutions. You could take a base 64 of the image itself, and it's important to find the solution that best fits for the application that you're using. So in our case here, we could simply take that URL that we've loaded in from Cosmic, our image, and we can add some Imagix queries on the end of it. So we basically are just looking for a very, very, very small version of the image to show as a blur placeholder. And essentially what we're showing here is just a very blurred, low data, low information version of the image. And that way we can give the user experience at least something to see while they're loading in on slower devices or smaller devices, or 4G, 3G devices. So yeah.
Great integration. I mean, for website optimization, speed optimization, and user experience, it's great one to have. I mean, up-to-date and modern websites.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think you see it all the time with loading blurred images, and it's very important for the user experience, of course, to get that first page load as quick as possible.
Can you show us what that looks like on one of those pages? Like maybe do a hard
Sure.
refresh to pull it through, see what that looks like.
Yep. So I'll even do. We're already on it. Yeah. So it's quick, but essentially we're taking very small. You can see, you can't even really see that, but very small version of our image, and
So does it convert it to that?
So it loads this in initially, and from that URL, since it's such a small load, it's able to just display that first.
Interesting. That's a
And
cool
then
feature. Yeah, because I think
yeah,
for user experience, you definitely want to see something before it loads in versus nothing and then just a quick
Even
jump.
in slow.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And it's
Oh, there we go. Yeah, that looks good.
yep,
Okay.
there we go. Yeah, so users on slower devices, of course, and Next.js sorts that out as well, as far as um, loading in the image and then replacing it, of course. So yeah, it just creates a wonderful user experience.
Awesome. So to kind
Yeah,
of close this out, do you want to go ahead and run a Lighthouse test on one of these pages that has a lot of images? Maybe we can do either this one or a different post
sure.
or whatever
Yeah,
page you want to do to check
so
it out.
let's just go to the live site here and let me I've got add-ons that will slow this down. So let me go incognito here and
Super secret,
yeah,
covert
exactly.
ops.
Yeah, so actually I don't have any extra images on here, so inevitably we'll likely get a nice load in, and let's see.
So this is sort of the punchline, right? Like we want to get to the point
Yeah,
where we've got just super optimized page loads, optimized images for all devices and network settings, and the user has an amazing experience. So this is kind of the goal here. So here's the real test. Let's see
here's the
how this
moment of
performs.
truth.
Choose best of part also. I mean, okay, it's fine.
Ah,
All right.
excuse my best practices, but that's
Whoa.
pretty telling right there. That's pretty
Good
telling right
performance.
there.
Best
Not
practices.
bad. Yeah. Let's see.
What did you do there,
Let's see what
Stefan?
I did.
That
Let's
was
see, guys. Huh. Oh, it's this guy right here. A little tricky.
it's you.
Yeah.
We gotta get you out of
Yeah.
there.
It's probably my face. The
Yeah.
internet's just like, hey, we've seen enough of this guy. Please get him off of our tests. So yeah, but essentially, yeah, why don't we run a quick desktop? Just I think in most cases, mobile's always going to load with lower performance a little bit, just as far as the speeds. Let's see. There we go. See,
Oh,
nice.
beautiful.
There we go. We love those green circles. And if for those of you who don't know, if you do hit hundreds on all these scores, you get a nice little confetti pop from your lighthouse here. And we all love confetti. Okay, so
Yes,
yeah,
we love great user experiences, and this is one of those tools that really makes it really quite easy for developers uh, to make it the best experience possible. So thank you, Stefan. I don't know
yeah,
what else we want to cover with this. Do you have anything else before we wrap it up? I kind of wanted to keep
yeah,
this
sure.
to within like 20 minutes or so, but
Yeah,
if you got
what are
anything
we
else you
looking
want
at
to show
right
off, that'd
now?
be awesome.
What are we looking at right now as far as time?
I don't know where I can see the time on the recording,
I,
but I
I think
think
this,
it looks
yeah.
like we're about at 20 minutes,
Okay,
25
yeah.
minutes.
I
You
yeah,
can
I
just
can make,
slice the
yeah, go
parts.
ahead.
I mean,
Sure.
no, slice the parts for video. I mean, you can just
Oh,
cover
okay.
some parts and then you can just.
Yeah, so a um really good use case for just media in general with Cosmic that I personally use in my day-to-day life is honestly just whether it's for the template itself, you can see developer portfolio, or the images, you can actually just create a bucket and store your images all in here. And let's say you need a one-off image, you just grab this imgix URL or the Cosmic URL, and you can just take this and put it quite anywhere. I think even in my Notion, I like to use these custom icons for some of my tasks. And like, for example, I've got like a components database and I want to put the Vercel logo in there. So we can just simply load it in remotely with something like Notion. Or for articles being written, you could store GIFs, you could store any type of media files. And yeah, and that's essentially one of my favorite things about even just using Cosmic, is that while you think of it as something where you go in and you might need all these objects, you can really just simplify it as far as making a media bucket and really just like compartmentalizing that and be like, yeah, I've got my media all stored in there. So I highly encourage that use case. It works very well.
Yeah, I definitely do that quite a bit as well. Just kind of uploading images. I mean, there's not a lot of, I guess, solutions that I can think of where you can just sort of drop media and get a URL, especially like an optimized like Imagex URL. So yeah, definitely something that we dog feed quite a bit at Cosmic.
Yeah.
So yeah, great use case example there.
Awesome. Yeah, guys. Well, that was it for this going over this article and the next image. And I hope everyone found something useful there and learned something. And yeah.
Yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in to our debut episode of the Cosmic Education channel. I don't know what we're going to call it. Cosmonauts Unleashed. Something we'll figure out a name here in a minute. We'll let you guys know. But yeah, we're looking forward to providing more of this content for you guys to kind of tune in and check out some of the things that we're working on, and hopefully it helps you build some great products, and we'd love to see them. We're going to have some links in the description, so go ahead and follow those to this article that Stefan created, as well as other links to like Next Image and other documentation to kind of get you up to speed and started with this way of building websites and optimizing your images. So thank you guys for tuning in. All right, bye-bye.